There's two things about the Kenshi community that I've observed. One is that there's a propensity for finding amusement in the most terrible of circumstances at the start of the game. There's one start on the Steam Workshop called the Impossible Start, where if you're human, you just get eaten when you load in. That's it. The other thing I've observed is there's a Lovers Lab page for Kenshi. Now for the first kind of person, I've created my own start. Plork's Destiny. And you know, for the Lovers Lab enjoys, I've created Plork, who is a starving, limbless human nugget, a billion cats in debt, dropped directly outside of the Bugmaster's throne in Arak, hated by every faction in the game. Now you might be thinking, wow, the very same Arak, infested with skin spiders and no available food, shelter, inhospitable and confusing terrain for a fully armed squad, let alone a single torso. And yes, you would be correct. And we're going to have to do what we can with the resources available to us in order to survive. I'm sure he'd rather be somewhere secure, and boy do I have good news for you, because we can be. With today's video partner, NordVPN. Do you remember how scam emails back in the day were comical? Like royalty was reaching out to you with your share of inheritance for the amount of around $14 million. All you had to do was provide them with your credit card number, personal address, and contact details. Well, scams are a little more sophisticated these days, and the reality is most of that information is already being collected and sold by your favorite websites to ad agencies all around the world. And not just that information, some of it is even more intimate, even more personal, like your browsing habits. And you don't want people to know you go to that website, do you? Well, with NordVPN, we can browse safely and securely. All you have to do is get NordVPN from this link right here, click on Secure My Connection, and there we are. I am untraceable. I am a ghost. NordVPN is now masking my browsing habits. Not only that, but you can select a region of your choice, such as Greece. Now your favorite streaming services stupidly think you are in that country, because NordVPN is safely routing your connection through that region. Finally, you can watch The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which is otherwise geo-blocked in regions like the US and Australia due to regional licensing restrictions. Click on the link in the comments or description box below, or visit nordvpn.com/bestguest for a bonus 4 months with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and enjoy safe, secure, and anonymous browsing today. The very first thing we're going to do is sneak up towards the Bugmaster's throne instead of away. You see, the Bugmaster's throne is densely populated by his personal entourage of nightmarish creatures, and sneaking with many enemies nearby nets us a massive amount of experience. But starvation limits how long we can do this for. Every second counts. Look how efficient I am. With crawling giving us a massive boost to stealth, we hit the 100 cap really quickly. But even at 100 stealth, we still have to slither for multiple days to a nearby settlement for food. Food that they're probably not going to let us eat. Even so, the nearest settlement is Last Stand to the north. It's there somewhere. Or was it there? Plork wriggles about unnoticed by the skin spiders, who will surely suck the marrow from our bones if they perceive this gelatinous, albeit highly masculine mass moving about. Under the cover of darkness, our form may be obscured, but there are times where the musk of pure testosterone is too great, and we get eaten just a little bit. This is highly inconvenient for survival. On the dawn of the second day, we finally reach the nearby shore, which was 50 meters away. I don't presume to know what it takes to be a great swimmer, but I'm willing to bet that Michael Phelps didn't hit the alien red pools of Arak during a bloodstorm starting at 7 in the morning and ending at 7 in the evening, okay? He didn't cultivate his legend at 0 miles per hour during ketosis. I cannot adequately express how soul-destroyingly long this is taking. We are approaching day 3 and we have traveled 0 distance. Nothing of note tonight, except we're about to cross into 2-digit hunger territory, which is bad because we start to pass out at 89 hunger, and being this hungry is not optimal for muscle hypertrophy. It's about midday on day 3 and I've reached the Watcher's Rim, which is kind of like the border zone around Arak where bounty hunters sit and observe the Bugmaster's throne, and Plork is completely unconscious due to starvation. Look at him go, dude. No, Plork! Oh. The hard part's behind me, right? Oh. 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 It is the dawn of the 4th day, and I am approaching my goal between sporadic bouts of unconsciousness. I wait until nightfall before I dare sneak past the guards at the front gate. Alright, let's see how this goes. Oh. That's gone exactly how I thought it would. Perfectly immersed in my camouflage, I slither past, completely undetected. I might have made the best stealth character of all time. I am practically the grass, the dirt. I blend in with perfection. Is he unconscious? No, he's back. The goat. Let me ask you something. If you're a guard here, do you even see this man? Do you even see this man sleeping in the grass? If you answered yes, you're stupid. This guard literally trips over me and doesn't notice I'm there. Oh, sorry. Excuse me, ma'am. You have a nice day now. I am a ghost. Slow and steady, and we enter the bar at last stand. A place guaranteed to have food spawns lying about. Just before sunrise on the 5th day, a delicious meat wrap. A dust witch left out on the bar counter. I am caught stealing, and nobody cares. For I am a ghost, and it must have been the wind. I have been seized. It turns out they did care, not about the theft, but because I am unconscious on their floor. I'd ask her to unhand me, but I am unbothered. Moisturized. Happy. In my lane. I've crawled back into the bar. I've got my eye on a piece of raw meat that has been left out, and the shop owner has her eye on me. We'll see who wins. In this contest of patience, I have the patience to wait until nightfall and grab it from the shadows. It may look as if Plork has plorked his last, but I can assure you he is simply unconscious. On the floor of the bar, slowly but surely becoming more nourished until we're strong enough to go out into the world again. The following night, it's safe to venture out, no longer in danger of falling unconscious. I decide it's time to see what I can fill my inventory with before I hit the road. Any foodstuffs I can find, I'll grab. So overconfident, I sneak into their faction HQ and stuff more food into Plork's cheeks like a squirrel. My inventory is looking stacked, and these clothes are enticing. Being that it is the dawn of the 6th day, I crawl to a nearby ruined building where I know no one will find me, and I squat. You can actually see Plork getting fatter in real time. I've heard this is a fetish. You're lucky you guys are getting this free on YouTube. We just wait. For day 6 to come to its end, for Plork to become well-nourished again. For Clothed and no longer hungry, once it is nightfall, we must leave last stand. Slither out from behind dozens upon dozens of Shek, all patrolling the place. They'd obliterate me if they could see me, but I'm in and out like the breeze, unnoticed, like a slug taking human form. Or like a worm. An earthworm. I know what to do next, but I'm unsure what the road will have in store for me. We have pants and an inventory full of food, but what we need next is legs. Arms. Followed by medical supplies should we be attacked, followed then by weapons and armor. I figured the closest place for me to get limbs would be those junk ones from the hivers in Vane just north of here. They are actually probably made from paper mache and old ocean pollution grade plastic straws, but we gotta make do. Before dawn on day 8. A near miss. Day 8. Nothing really happens. Day 9. Nothing really happens. Before dawn on day 10, I've reached Vane and I'm closing in on the hive. There are many eyes upon this land, but mine are upon that sign right over there. Robotics. And any hiver queens with that distended metallic stomach I might find. Damn. Fortunately for me, the hivers are too busy getting slaughtered by beak things for them to be able to pay any attention to me, leaving Plork home free to crawl inside and immediately be seen by several individuals. But they do nothing. Strange. So the first container I open, a piece of shit limb. I take it, and bizarrely, they're alerted and do nothing to stop me. So I take more standard grade hiver limbs and calmly vacate the premises a fully limbed man. I'm not entirely sure why they haven't attacked me or why I'm still alive, but it worked and I don't want to question it any further. You understand. Now the thing about these limbs is they are dreadful for just about every single skill in the game, because they are trash. Which means I will be easily spotted by aggressive NPCs who are not inexplicably passive to me. But fortunately for me, if we remove a leg while we are being pursued, we go limp and play dead. The people of Kenshi are lacking in critical reasoning, and as such they leave us alone. Meaning we can crawl away while their backs are turned until such a time that we put our legs back on and start walking again. With our escape from Vane and the hive secure, I rejoice that the following years upon this earth will not be spent crawling at 0 miles per hour upon the surface of Kenshi as a barely sentient torso, a billion cats in debt hated by every being in the universe. Now I move at about 4 miles per hour as a barely sentient torso, a billion cats in debt hated by every being in the universe. And that's okay, because our journey now takes us further east across Shek lands, which, though free of any immediate dangers such as skin spiders and beak things, still poses a grave threat. And as one legless chapter comes to an end, so begins another of discovery. Excitement. The ability to actually pretend to be dead in order to avoid detection by hostile forces instead of just hoping they do not notice me when they trip over the inexplicable human mass on a floor that has a 70-ish% chance of being mistaken for a rock of some kind. A skill that, as you can imagine, becomes a mainstay and something to find deep comfort with in times of need. As we wave goodbye to the imposing Shek cities in the Sten Desert, we stumble upon some ruins, in which a green tier rusty chainmail vest. It is also here that I notice we have an iconic head dent. I find no food. Fortunately, we're still well stocked up in that regard, but we do pick up some iron and a fragment axe. An unwieldy weapon that serves no purpose to me now other than to overload my inventory, allowing me to trade my strength while we continue east. And the reason we take this pilgrimage east is quite straightforward. I want to travel through the Deadlands into Black Desert City, where I'll be able to pilfer robotic limbs of a much higher quality and type. My main concern, and the reason I didn't do this as a torso, is this region is pelted with heavy acid rain at all times, and I wasn't convinced Plork in his impressive slug form was going to be able to make it across to shelter quick enough in order to not melt into a puddle of sludge. The journey east is several days long and still rife with dangers. For example, hungry bandits will still loot me if I have my leg off and play dead. So I must also throw all of my food on the ground where they'll not be able to use their eyes to see it nor their hands to grab it, instead deciding I have nothing of value and going about on their merry way. Like the plunderless rats they are. I'd left the hive on the 10th day and I arrive in the Deadlands on the 14th. All of this traveling has increased my athletic skill to 63, so now Plork experiences the acid rain for a shorter amount of time, by leisurely jogging like a senior citizen trying to make it to bingo night. Oh boy, I sure hope Gladys is going to be there. She hasn't sagged a day over 98. We are immediately and rapidly run down by an incredibly scary skeleton guard with a massive sword, and we must remove our legs and pretend to be dead while disintegrating into the soil. It is vital to our continued existence that such a ruse be perpetuated, but only for as long as we do not completely melt. The skeletons try, but they don't think too hard as they're still running on Windows 10 and Microsoft left them all to bloat with Chrome extensions and malicious cookies. Now I know it looks like Plork is suffering, but in reality he is right in front of the doorway to shelter and new limbs, so this is actually his happy face. I'm in. A specialist scout leg right, a high-grade thief's arm right, specialist stealth leg left, high-grade skeleton arm left, an absurd burst of pace upstairs, specialist skeleton arm right, blistering speed, evasion, and we're out the door. So comes to an end the slow times, as there is little out there that can outpace us now, sprinting at a casual 30 miles per hour. But we're not going to stop here, oh no. These aren't the only limbs I'll be stealing. In fact, we're only leaving the Deadlands temporarily to recover. To heal. For though we may have been victorious in the short term, we still sustained ungodly levels of damage out in the acid rain. But aren't we so lucky that he's still handsome despite the melting? I find a small hacker-class weapon for protection in some nearby ruins, and continue the pilgrimage west until I reach Squin. You see, our most immediate concern might be health recovery, but without a bedroll, I'm not sure I'm actually going to be doing much recovering, other than by standing around aimlessly and waiting. In the past, I have had luck raiding the travel shop in Squin for bedrolls and backpacks, so a logical place to start. Besides, I can outpace the 100 Guardians without issue. I am immediately captured. They throw me in a cell. But unlike when you're a torso at the start of the game, because I have limbs, I'm able to lockpick my way out. I wait several hours for my unconsciousness debuff to run out, while I watch the 100 Guardians bring and lock up various starving bandits they've brutalized in the street. Unfortunately, I'm unable to lockpick my own cage even with my advanced thief prosthetics, so I practice on the nearby Hungry Bandits cage. With the skills I amass telepathically picking everyone else's cages, I pick my own and sprint at maximum speed out of Squin. They may send their best, but they'll never be fast enough. Speed is the only currency out here in the wastes, you understand. My short stay in Squin Penitentiary has healed me up, so instead of stressing over the bedrolls and backpacks, I zoom back out across east to the desert, through the Deadlands and back to Black Desert City. This time my trip here is considerably different, as I Naruto run past all of the city guards, all of the shop guards, after having been clearly visible to the naked eye. This is because my stealth skill is at 94 from all of the crawling I did as a little torso newborn in Arak. If Plork can slam into a guy and not be detected, why couldn't those kids at Area 51 do it all those years ago? Are they stupid? We escape towards the nearby skeleton storage shop, significantly buffed by new masterwork industrial lifter arms, stealth and scout legs. Lockpicking while plainly within view of the skeleton guards here will never quite sit comfortably with me, but being 999,999,460 cats in debt will make a man do all kinds of things. An Edge Type 3 longsword is better in my hands than in theirs. A skeleton repair kit. Perhaps unsurprisingly and against everyone's best advice, we take a peek at what other treasures lie in wait within these locked containers, but they're within view of a dozen guards. So instead, they are lockpicked through various solid objects and relative safety. A sick pair of Ashlander storm goggles. Fashion accessories. You almost don't know what hurts more, the acid rain or the desert winds sandblasting your skin clean from your bones as you travel the lands at Mach fuck. But one thing's for sure, recuperation is needed for us to continue. So I do the only thing I know how. Squat at the hub, where people are largely unaffiliated with the factions that hate Plork. My dearest Plork. Where we may disappear into the crowds and enjoy anonymity in relative peace. Realizing that the Shinobi Thieves Guild vendor tends to sell backpacks, I scour through their belongings in search of elusive storage space. Unfortunately, I find nothing. Fortunately, my pull-out game is quite strong, and I'm able to escape without being perceived. Intelligence is knowing that it will be challenging to find a bedroll or a backpack in the traditional sense. But wisdom is knowing I'm going to have to peel these things from other people's inventories while they're incapacitated, preferably before I'm incapacitated. While the replacement of my limbs with highly advanced prosthesis leaves me more alien by the moment, so does the feeling of bonking someone on the side of the head without them noticing until they're unconscious. I do this over and over again while these people shift uncomfortably in their seats and my assassination skill grows. Sometimes the guards will even rush out to the commotion and brutalize those that would defend themselves from me. This is because the guards cannot physically perceive Plork and think that the starving denizens of the hub are being rowdy over valuables such as rags. You understand. I feel bad, so I first aid them. I recover HP by sleeping during the day. By night, no one is safe from my wrath. The people, they don't understand why it is their friends lay unconscious on the floor, or how they keep getting blasted in the head by forces unseen. This continues until such a time as I decide we have had enough assassination skill training to start being able to take what we want from people. The only backpack I'm aware of nearby is the Shinobi Thieves Guild vendor in their tower. Through a remarkable display of superposition, quantum mechanics, we see this assassination attempt fail and succeed at the same time. The thieves' backpack quantum tunnels into my inventory. Throwing on our fast legs and running into every sword between us and the door, the road again carries us east towards a location with a guaranteed sleeping bag in the loot table. The Dust King's tower isn't really where you want to find yourself with no combat skills, armor, or hirelings, but extraordinary reward comes to those who take extraordinary risks. A cock blast here. A cock blast there. Totally unconscious. Domination. However, a short-lived victory. With the Dust King himself standing directly over my body looking at me menacingly with his wide-set eyes. I'm really not sure what to do. I try to stand and I'm immediately blasted in the head by a bandit on a turret. Patience is going to be the best play here, so I wait for the dusk of the 18th day before I put on my speed legs and notice the bandits have looted my sword. Now, when I was first taken down, I threw all of my food on the floor where the bandits know the 5-second rule means this is now unlootable nuclear waste. But I hadn't considered that they'd take my sword. I throw my fast legs on and I sprint away at speeds unattainable by the fleshy weakness of their little bandit legs. I noticed the only bandit that followed me out here was the Dust King himself. This presents an excellent opportunity. I gently place the cold metal of my hands to the side of his head and he simply understands that it is time to be unconscious. His shirt and his heart protector quantum tunnel the way into my inventory while he is unceremoniously disrobed and disgraced by mysterious forces unseen. A stubby half-robot runs at ordinary speeds back into the Dust King's hideout, where he removes his legs to become unconscious and promptly vanish from sight. Looking around at the bandits nearby, I spot the one who took our sword, our beautiful Edge 3 longsword. Plork pulls the consciousness from his skull, loots the sword, switches legs, and is back out the door in a blink of an eye. Torso training has made us stronger. Better. What should be a long trip back to the hub and restful respite is a flash at the speed of weeb. But what isn't a flash is spending 24 hours recovering from having the Dust King's whole hand shoved inside my ass, playing me like a sock puppet begging to be put out of my misery. A flash back to the Dust King's tower at the speed of ordinary running posture. The return of the real king. Bonk. And inside the very first chest of the tower, there it is. Our freedom. Our treasure. To confirm a fear of mine, I make my way another floor upstairs where I encounter a potential follower. And he does not interact with me, which means it is unlikely we'll be able to recruit people due to our reputation with factions. So I steal all of his bread. That'll learn him. To quote Senator Armstrong, standing here, I realize that you are just like me with basic needs, such as sustenance, literature, drip. Legs, we need those if you have them. Kenshi doesn't seem hospitable to wheelchairs. We spend the rest of this downtime stealing supplies and keeping out of trouble as best we can, while Plork builds his little independent retreat not far from the hub, where survival might be a little more attainable, surrounded by nobody instead of literally anybody. Our successes compound. We build a waterside crap shack, place a bed with the sleeping bag, a research bench for progression. The only time I return to cities is to pilfer from their stores. Of all their supplies, the invisible loot goblin, the treasure phantom that haunts the various confused Czech 100 guardians who frankly should have executed me when they were stumbling over a humble torso all those days ago, only to then get bodied by hungry bandits outside of our abode. Injuries easily recovered from though, not a problem. This, however, this is something else entirely. A huge thank you to the patrons. Without you, I never get to discard the frailties of flesh and become a metal god, so for that you have my thanks. To the rest of you, please like and subscribe. I love you, honey. Oh.